I missed a few uploads last week, so over the weekend I decided to hold a slightly longer stream. I thought it would only last about 4 or 5 hours. This is gonna be I'm gonna try to do this in one stream. Oh, how wrong I was. I was going to just show the whole process from beginning to end, making one of the most famous minivans of all time. As long as you're outside of the North Americas. Back in the 90s, when black tar heroin and cocaine were just freely available and legal, clearly over in the EU, because they took one of the most technically sophisticated vehicles of all time, the Williams F1 car. It was so advanced that they went ahead and banned all driver aids for F1 because this car was just too fast. They then proceeded to wrap an espace minivan around this thing, which I kept on calling an e-space because that's how it was spelled. I completely was calling it wrong. To start this, I had to dig into the new Van's 3D files, and there was a lot of junk. This part alone had taken nearly an hour. I'd, like normal, completely underestimated how long this modding was going to take. Anyway, at this point, I'd already found out that somebody had already put the Scintilla V10 into the minivan. They've already put it in the middle of the thing. Damn, they're quick. Lucky for me, it was a slapdash job. You know, much like my normal videos show. In real life, edit that a little bit. But to save on time today, we're just not gonna do that part. So luckily, this wasn't actually going to be that hard to beat. Especially since I'd already promised a major wide-bodying. Then I wanted to start choosing what suspension to use. For me, this was actually going to be a pretty big sticking point because I wanted to have suspension that was fairly representative of what was actually in F1 cars. Now, I was using the V10 from the Scintilla as that was the only V10 in BeamNG. Much like the Espace F1, but the suspension was rather normal. I wanted pushrod. Luckily, however, the SBR has pushrod suspension in the rear. Sure, it didn't have mid-engine, it had rear engine, but I could make that work. Unfortunately, though, it was the only pushrod suspension in the game. None for up the front, so we'll kinda SOL with that. But I still swapped out the antiquated McPherson strap for some SBR double wishbone. I made one mistake though. I moved all of the meshes in Blender as opposed to using node offset in the J-beam. That meant if I got the nodes to line up, that wouldn't matter because the meshes still wouldn't line up. More on that later though. For now though, I decided to cut the floor pan up to make sure that the new glorious V10 would fit. Then I spent 10 minutes deleting half of the car and going over how I was going to just then turn around and mirror it again later, and how I was going to rectify the UV unwrapping problem. I did it that way because I didn't realize there was a way to work with mirrored parts without a mirrored modifier. And don't worry, it makes sense to me. All of this was just a way to make the wide-bodying process a lot easier, and the first thing to do was to start morphing everything in a very uniform way. Something like that. So the body comes out, then there's that little bit of extra bulge. Something like there. And luckily, it went off without a hitch. It didn't look perfect though. It's true. I'm not very good at Blender. I even tried to cover it up mostly with these side pod parts, but even my editor didn't know how bad I was at 3D modeling. Phil, do your automation bodies have similar wheel arches? Jordan, have you not realized? I haven't actually made a car body. Jordan just realizing, mind blown. I'm not very good at Blender. I've said that 100 times. Yeah. If you look through my automation mods, you'll see that there's a lot of mods in there, but no car bodies. Most of them are just these weird potato-shaped F1 bodies. Oh, except for this one cab forward type thing, it's a cool mod. You should go check that out. Anyway, at about the 3.5 hour mark already, my brain is really starting to fade already. Like, this is what I struggle with, looking at small things like this. Yeah, at this point, I didn't realize how much of a long haul this stream was going to be. But I kept going. I divided up the side pods so that they would be able to attach to each individual part. Then we got to the first part that I was dreading. Do I mess with the lights, or do I take the easy way out? I think we are going to do the cheapskate trick and not actually work on our headlights. Yeah. Editing lights is not fun, but it gets much worse than just having to model them. You also then have to go into the dreaded world of props. Then, I've stuffed this up pretty bad. This is not a good. BeamNG has a very precise UV unwrapping system. And let's say, for instance, you want to join 3 bumper parts that you thought maybe should have been 1 part? Well, now you've stuffed up, and now it's going to take 5 minutes to fix that 5-second mistake you just made. Then more mistakes with how I made the door handles, just more time going into a growing list of mistakes that I keep on making. Hey, you know what? We didn't do the door handle stuff, did we? Let's go fix that. Then, let's go ahead and start doing the J-beaming part now that we're done with this. It was time to start working on the fun stuff. Instead of working on theoretical models, we're actually trying to now make things fit the car. Not to mention that it was actually also a lot easier. All I had to do was drag the files in and then tell it to stop looking for the old models and look for the new ones that I'd made. Job's a good'un. Except I may have forgotten to apply mirror modifiers. Oh, no, the floor... Oh. Whoops. Let me quickly go in and apply that mirror modifier sitting right there in front of me. First to go on, though, was the rear haunches. Bugatti is real. Hey! Would you look at that? So, the livery is not quite right, but we'll get around to that later. Second was to realize that I needed 1 of 100 bits of rear trim to fit on. That trim. I did need the trim. Finding that alone took 5 minutes. Next was the doors. Should be the front doors done. Yup. Big chungus. But I don't know why this isn't working. We may have to do some like material resets to get that to work. Remember how I was talking about the delicate UV stuff? Yeah, I was working on the wrong layer. But don't worry, I fixed that the next day over, like, not on stream. Just, yeah, it was easy. I'm dumb. Next, though, was the rear doors. And there we go. Though I was a little concerned about that they look opening and closing. Well, you know what, actually, hold on. I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna press the door open button, and I'm gonna see what happens. You know what? If you're not paying attention, I think that's acceptable. So, I moved on, and I started looking for the front bumper, and... Fantastic. That's what we like to see. Things just stuff up. That's okay. Only a few minutes of fettling, and I got it to also work. The hell is a Fender liner needing its own J-beam for? Then I learned that Fender liners have their own nodes? It actually has a node of vertices. It's got 2 vertices. What the hell? Why? I don't know why. It's a mystery of all time. So it doesn't actually even come out even. Oh no, it does come out. What the hell is that? Oh, that's the entire fender. That doesn't make sense. Anyway, the fenders went on fairly easy with only one little minor UV issue. What the hell? Keep in mind, we're only 5 hours in, but even still. All right, let's drive our new car around. What do we reckon? Oh my God. I swear I'm not an idiot. You're an idiot. Yeah, I actually did fix it though. And I started choosing the front suspension. I don't like this suspension, but I don't think I like this suspension so much either because it wants a subframe. Maybe I will grab the subframe from here. So it came down to whether the front subframe would be easy to select. We could just grab the whole subframe though and kind of merge. Oh, it's a whole cop. Meant to shorten down monocoque and didn't realize that that's how that was going to turn out in my head. Note to self, never try to abbreviate monocoque, especially if you've been streaming for 5.5 hours. So the new suspension went in, then I figured out how to mount them. here's the problem. These nodes all exist and it's all fantastic and hunky-dory, but guess what? They exist on the other suspension. I left my nodes in my other pants sort of thing. Whereas for the SBR, it makes it in the body. Consistency, I know, right? With a little maths, they worked. But not before capturing something out of Interstellar. Oh, that's funny. Oh, I like that. I like that very much. That makes me happy. Playing whack-a-mole with little issues here and there meant that we were now over 6 hours in. Then I got this message. Phil, I think you should split this on parts. The stream will take forever. Yes, I know it'll take forever. It already has been taking forever, but I want to finish it all in one go. Wow, that is not as happy now. Yeah, that's not what I'm about, bro. I'm stubborn and I'm in this for the long haul. Oh yeah, and it took about 20 minutes to fix the steering. I know. Steering fixoed. We weren't going to do the rear suspension, were we? We were just going to do the front and no engine, right? If this episode has been getting a little bit too heady for you, don't worry. I'm about to bring the IQ down a little bit. Oh wait, hold on. Kind of looks like somebody's really big butt cheeks have been chopped off, and they're like sitting kind of in the car a little bit. Hey, that was a nice break, right? Well, this is where things start coming back to bite me on the buttocks. I think I may have accidentally moved these from their resting place. That's not good. And after I realized the ramifications... Ah, crab apples. How could I be so dumb? I moved everything. Ugh. The problem is that there's a visible mesh and a physical mesh. And I can move one or the other. Or really, really easily, I can move both of them together with only one small itsy bitsy bit of code. So I went back in and I lined everything up to where it originally was. It wasn't actually as bad as what I thought, and I made it fit. Then if we come in here, Control R, now you'll see that it'll fit in place. Perfect. Yeah, tires are not moved, but that's because we haven't moved them yet. As time went on though, I started to realize that time was really passing by. I haven't even gotten to the engine yet. The main thing, I haven't even gotten. Jesus. A half hour later, I was finally getting that glorious V10 in there. Scintilla Engine. And a few minutes later, I already had it working. Let's just see if it fits. It does. But... okay, it kind of attaches. And... transfer... oh, they want the transfer case as well. Oh. Turns out I was missing the transfer case. But that's not my fault. Two-wheel drives don't even have transfer cases. Anyway, what are the chances? Hell yes! I mean, the engine's not properly attached or anything, but hell yeah. We don't want to be on dirt either. Maybe going onto dirt was not the best option. Oh, do we not have brakes? We don't have brakes. Of course we have brakes. I don't know what you're talking about. See, I drive, then I mean, I may not have them put on the car. That's extra that you have to pay for. Why are brakes not here? It turns out that the brakes not showing up was just a small little technical glitch with BeamNG. But finally, after 8 hours, we finally have a fully functioning vehicle. Yes! Please trust me this time. Look at that engine flopping about. Half shaft's broken again. Hold on, I wanna make a funny joke. Somebody good looking walks by. That was the wrong way. Somebody good looking walks by. Damn it. Give me a second. Somebody good looking walks by. There we go. I made the joke. Whatever. You get the idea. Oh, this is hard to drive. I'm reckoning getting the transmission mounted up properly will help a little bit. It didn't really, but we're on to the finishing touches now. Last and definitely least is going to be the livery creation. My weakest skills are actually in everything material related. So instead I spent a half an hour making a rear wing, which I thought was glorious and Chad was putting down. I think this is passable. Now there is a possibility that you do not agree. And to you I say, make it yourself! Now, the new wing significantly slowed down the car, so I needed to finally give it the full power it needed. And I unlocked that full RPM capability. Oh god. The increased power amount is ridiculous. Holy cow. The extra power we now have with the extra RPM, because I was an idiot and didn't have that set up right, is ridiculous. It's so much more. It is so much extra. You know what it needs? It needs slicks. Here's one little thing that you may not know about BeamNG. It has exactly 1 trillion wheels. And even if they have the same numbers, they don't fit the same tires. So I put it up to the chat and I ended up modding on some nice center lug wheels with slicks on them. We do have really thicker wheels now. I didn't want to do this myself. I'd been streaming for 9 hours! And I finally stopped procrastinating and I think we're good. Let's go on to livery creation. This is where I'm going to be working on the very bounds of my limits of expertise. If you can even call it that. No, it didn't take long for me to want to take shortcuts. Okay. We're going to go basically monochromatic here, just because I'm lazy. And after half an hour of the grind set, then, if we're lucky, which we are not. Let's skip to the end part. Look at the idiot. There we go. I'm so dumb. So this was like a silvery color. No, it was mostly a black color. This was a silvery color. Can't believe how dumb I am. Oh my god. Can you guys believe it? Can you believe how dumb I am? Yeah. I'm not going into all those stupid mistakes that I made during that process. Let's instead move on to the more fun stuff, like where I made ITBs. The stream had been going on for over 10 hours by now. That's how ITBs work, right? Widening the physical body was the final part. Yep, that does work. And finally, there you have it. That's how I made a Renault knockoff mod in BeamNG in just one 11-hour stream. This thing is really awesome and will be available on the repository at some point. You should really try it out and have an absolute blast. But now though, I would like to thank my channel members. And that specifically includes Rogue Tick, the Carrion Priest, who actually got the top tier level subscription during this stream and also donated $100 dues. For the rest of you though, catch you all next time. Goodbye.